Hi guys, welcome to Multiverse. Today we are going to play with our friend Superman. Also, I just made a video mentioning how we're going to get bonus UltraBucks next weekend. So for some of you that may be obvious, but I'm pretty sure there's at least a few of you guys who will be wondering like how can we get UltraBucks? So I'm going to try to show it a little bit in this video. Again, if you already know everything about Earth 3, there's probably going to be nothing new for you guys, but we'll see. So I guess we're really finally ready. Oh, so let's say hi to everyone. Hello, that Soul Guy. Hello, Lana. Glad you were able to finally buy a PS4. I'm very happy for you. Hello, Possessed Tube. Hello, Dave. Hello, Jabril. And yeah, Lana, I understand that you're very happy right now. I was when I first purchased my PS4, I was a happy guy too. So today we're going to go play the Earth 3 missions, and I'm going to show you a few things to make sure that there's no confusion for everyone. I could probably now apply. Let's go to the Watchtower, and I'll show you how to get to the Earth 3, and we'll talk a bit about the UltraBucks. So if you go to the Watchtower, the Earth 3 portal is over here. I made videos in the past about how to access Earth 3 with an evil villain. So if you're looking for that, look through my videos for that. UltraBucks, just quite roughly, let's see if our friend Superman has any. Could be that oh yeah. So UltraBucks is basically a currency you need to purchase the Earth 3 set of gear. It's pretty much that simple. And there's a few ways to be able to get UltraBucks. One of those ways would be to play the Earth 3 event missions. You could also play the missions from the On Duty tab also, but in order to be able to play the missions from the normal On Duty tab, you have to either be a legendary or to have purchased the episode, and you have to be combat rating 207 or more. Here our friend Superman is combat rating 104, so the only real way we can play the Earth 3 missions will be using the On Duty menu and to go into the Events tab. So we have access to the Visitor, the Injustice System, the Panopticon, and the Escape. If you're a free-to-play player or a premium player, you have access to the mission that I've just showed you. Oh, I'm sad we lost you to Elder Scroll Online, Eric. I have a friend who's addicted to Elder Scroll Online, so I can understand. So basically, all the missions over here will give you bonus UltraBucks. So even if you didn't purchase the episode, even if you're a premium player or free-to-play player, everyone is going to get bonus UltraBucks next weekend. The on-duty menu gives a bit extra gear, like basically in here, like the mission you play with Batman, Batman only gives you some UltraBucks and some marks of victory. And even worse, if you're a free-to-play player, you're only going to get UltraBucks. Like Wonder Woman, oh, that was a nice Doctor Strange. Wonder Woman only gives you some UltraBucks. But our friend Cyborg actually gives you UltraBucks and a little reward box when you play that mission. I think the Flash also gives you a little reward box. And I think Officer Snarts also gives you a little reward box. So basically, all those missions will give you UltraBucks, and next weekend, all those missions here should give you bonus UltraBucks. And if you go to the on-duty menu, again, the missions over here, the Visitor, Injustice System, Panopticon, and the Escape, those should give you bonus UltraBucks as well. And if you are a legendary player that's combat rating 207 or more, legendary player will not only get bonus UltraBucks from those missions, legendary players will get triple UltraBucks. So that should give you quite a boost in order to be able to purchase things from our robot over here. Although again, if you're a free-to-play player or a premium player, you're not going to get access to everything. You have access to the Speed Demon set of gear. You have access to various base item boxes, and that's pretty much it. If you want to have access to everything that our little friend here is selling, you have to be combat rating 207 or more, and you have to either have purchased the episode or be a legendary player. And also, if you're playing Earth 3 for free, sadly, it's going to end on March 29th. March 29th, we're going to get the new DLC that is Deluge. And Deluge will be the new episode that you're going to be able to play for free.
Thanks, I think.
Oh, I understand. You're still playing DCUO, but you're playing Elder Scrolls Online as well. Oh, that's a good option. Keeps it fresh on both sides, I suppose. And yes, there's the upcoming 80th anniversary of Superman. It should start in about a month, from my guesstimation. I'm not sure exactly when it's going to start, because the truth is we don't really have a date just yet. But we do know that the 1000th issue of Action Comics is released. I think it's like April 16 or April 18, something like that. So I strongly suspect that the Superman anniversary should start at that time. It'll probably start like April 18 or something like that. For the show Krypton, I think we're really close to the... Oh yeah, Superman emblem, David, would be much appreciated. There's talk about that there's going to be a new version of Doomsday, from what I understand, in the Superman anniversary. I don't think we're going to get a Doomsday gear, though. From what I understand, we are probably going to get a Lobo set of gear. For the Krypton show, it should start really soon. I'm not sure exactly when. Let me look it up. Our friend Google should be able to tell us that. It's very soon. It's going to be on the Sci-Fi channel. It should be March 21st. But actually, it should be tomorrow. So if I can believe what our friend Google is telling me, the new Krypton TV show should start tomorrow. From what I understand, it's a show on the Sci-Fi channel, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it should be on the network Sci-Fi OC feed, depending on how you want to say that. Basically, a source is telling me that the gear we should get with the Superman anniversary should be, well, there should be a Lobo set of gear with the Superman anniversary. It's probably not going to be the only gear we're going to get, but apparently there is going to be a Lobo-inspired gear. What UltraBucks do? UltraBucks allow you to purchase... Oh, wrong place. UltraBucks allow you to purchase gear and supplies and whatever you need from a little friend over here. So if you ever wanted to purchase the Johnny Quick set of gear, which is the Speed Demon suit or the Swift suit, then you should be able to purchase that. So here you should be able to purchase that gear. If you're combat rating 207 or more and you own the episode, even better, you should be able to purchase the All-Man set of gear. And there's quite a few things you can purchase. There's base items you can purchase, although some of the base items, as you can see, requires marks of victory. But there's a base items also that requires UltraBucks. There's also a few collections you can purchase and stuff like that. The All-Man, it's in this very vendor. But you have to own the episode, or you have to be a legendary player, and you have to be truly combat rating 207. Like as you saw, the game actually raises the combat rating of my character to 207, but the character is actually artificially raised to that level. If we look at our stats, like you can see, the game gave quite a boost in stats to my character, and it gave a boost in stats to my combat rating. So right now you can see that normally my combat rating would be 104, but the game raises my combat rating to 207. But if you truly want to be able to purchase the, well, you can actually purchase the Ultraman statue, well, the small version of the Ultraman statue from this vendor, if I recall correctly. Although if you need the Ultraman statue, buy it from the broker. It's not, last I checked, it wasn't that expensive. And if you shop around and play on the broker quite a bit, you should be able to get the Ultraman statue for fairly cheap. No, low level cannot get the gear. You're gonna have to raise the level of your character to 207, and then you're going to be able to purchase the Owlman set of gear.
All this help you're doing is gonna get you.
Well, see that those bonus UltraBucks should allow you to be able to complete your Owlman set of gear, Dave. If you're 221, you should be able to, at the very least, purchase a few extra pieces of gear. Honestly, Lana, I have no idea. I assume there'll be a similar setup with Deluge. Odds are Deluge will allow you to purchase one set of gear, but there's probably another set of gear that will require you to actually own the DLC. For the Stalwart chest, sadly, you have no choice. You have to buy it from the broker. Technically, you can get the Stalwart Defender chest from the Prometheum time capsules, but the odds of getting the Stalwart from the Prometheum lock boxes, very, very slim. You probably have as much luck to win the lottery than to get the Stalwart Defender chest from the lock boxes.
Get back!
You created the multiverse flash? Ah, that's cool. Of course, whenever you play your character, you owe me 10% of everything you own. You have to.
Is anyone out there? If you really want to do some good, stop them at the source.
You have to use the broker. If you want to make money in game, you have to use the broker. There's no miracle solution other than that. So you have to use the broker, and you go to the broker as often as you can to try to get some good deals. Well, ideally, if you can get items that are valuable, then yeah, you're going to be able to sell them for a lot of money. But as a rule of thumb, the odds of getting a really valuable item are really, really low. What I strongly suggest is find a spot where you can farm for collections and just sell those collections any chance you get. It doesn't seem like much, but if you can say a whole bunch of collections, you make $100,000 very quick. If you sell a whole bunch of collections like at $10,000, you make $100,000 very quick. And if you sell collections for $100,000, even better, you can make $1 million pretty quick. So depending on which collections you farm, you should be able to make some cash fairly quickly. I don't think you need all 95 gear in order to be 224. Although I do have on my multiverse character, I think that I'm 224 still, and I have the full all-man set of gear, but I have one or two omnipotence items, so I'm not sure if you need the whole set, but probably. Or for spending money, it depends. If you can afford to spend money on 2 MMO, that's you decide. It's your decision. If you have to make a choice, I would say choose the one you enjoy the most.
Thanks. I think. Now buy me some time at least. Hey, let me out.
I know a friend or two who play Elder Scroll. I haven't played it myself, so any information I have about Elder Scroll is pretty much second-hand information. So I wouldn't really be able to advise you properly, other than ideally invest in the MMO you like the best. If you can invest in both, even better. If you can invest in one of them, I strongly suggest invest on the one you like the best and play the other one either for free or with whatever limits you have currently.
I appreciate it, but we
I have, what do I have? I think I have a neck piece. Let's go check. Yeah, there's a lot of people who are unhappy with DCUO. You don't have you can find fairly easily people who will complain about DCUO. So let's take a quick look at our friend the Multiverse, and I'll try to answer at least some of your questions about Combat Training 224. And also, we'll try to show you the vendor, if you can actually see everything in the vendor. So let's go to Earth 3. That should probably clear out at least a few of your questions. If someday we finish loading, not sure what's been going on. The loading time has been, let's say, a bit much lately. So here we have the very same vendor, you guys remember. So before we take a look at our old friend here, so right now with the all-man set of gear, like you can see, I have the 195 weapon, I have the all-man headpiece, the back piece, the chest, the pants, the boots, the gloves, and the shoulders. Well, the visor, it's not really the Owlman visor, but it's the 195 visor anyway. And you can see, basically I have the Omnipotence belt, which is 192. But it's actually better than the 195 belt, which is why I keep that belt. But you can see also that the neck piece is actually 212. And for the rings, I still have some 193 rings, and the same with the utility belt. So let's look at our old friend here. So basically, you remember I don't have the Owlman belt, but as you can see, I could have sworn my belt was actually better than this one. So I guess I'm losing a bit of power, precision, and might, but I'm getting stats for everything else. Could have sworn the Omnipotence belt was better, but I guess it's somewhat equivalent. Of course, if I had the 197 gear, then it probably would be better. But in order to be able to get the 197 gear, you have to raise your renown with the elite content. And sadly, I barely played it, or I tried to play it, and we pretty much couldn't do it. So I didn't really try to play the elite content all that much. It was pretty much a little bit frustrating. So basically, if you're wondering what you can purchase with your UltraBucks, the owl suit would be one option. But again, in order to be able to purchase the owl suit, you have to be combat rating 207 or more. So right now my character is combat rating 224, which is why I have access to the owl suit. Also, there's a few things that you probably didn't see before. I don't remember if we had the essence purifier before. Doesn't really matter, but anyway, you can see there's the catalyst type goons of Gotham, sort of call it dispensers. There's a whole bunch of plans also that we didn't have before, although you can see those are with the marks of victory, so the UltraBucks won't really help you. And there's also collections, like there's the CS DNA collection that you can purchase, and there's the Crime Syndicate investigations. These are to be able to get the elite, like the CS DNA is how I was able to get the neck piece, the Omnipotence neck piece. This would give me the CSI Crime Syndicate investigation would give me the Omnipotence headpiece, but I'm still missing two other collections. So even if I purchase this, I still have two collections to purchase from the broker. And there's a few items also you can purchase, like the Crime Syndicate of America table. Sadly, the preview doesn't allow us to show it properly. There's the statue of Superwoman, which is the small version of the statue, if I recall correctly. There's the statue of Allman. And there's the statue of Ultraman. Supposedly, if you purchase the whole set of gear, then when you try to purchase the very same gear with your alternate characters, the price should be lower. The truth is, I can't really show you because my multiverse character is the only one who can really have access to that content right now. So I would have to test it out with one of my alternate characters, and I can't do that right now. But supposedly, yeah, supposedly once you purchase the all-man set of gear, then if you purchase it again with another character, you should be able to buy it for less UltraBucks. The same is true with the Elite version. Once you purchase the entire Elite version of the Ultraman set of gear, then again with your alternate characters, you should be able to purchase the Elite version for cheaper. But again, I've never tried it myself, so I can't guarantee you exactly how it works. And also, as you can see, there's a few base items you can purchase with UltraBucks. And I think that pretty much covers what you can purchase with your UltraBucks. So as you saw, there's a whole bunch of stuff you can buy with UltraBucks. There's some stuff that you have to be combat rating 207 in order to be able to purchase. Yeah, we should have the spring event, but we're not there yet. Sorry, I'm just trying to catch up with a few things. Yeah, basically you have for the top gear for the top gear nowadays you have to purchase it from vendors. And in order to be able to purchase it from vendors, obviously you have to gather UltraBucks in order to be able to do so. And the top gear is the Elite version of the gear, which sadly you have to play the Elite version of the content in order to be able to get Elite Renown. That will allow you to purchase the gear. So you have to play the Elite version, and once you raise your Elite Renown high enough, then you can actually purchase the Elite version of the gear. Thanks you, Dave. That's a pretty cool cyborg Superman. It's as close as I was able to get right now. Absolutely. You're going to see him in 3 seconds. 3.5 seconds. So let's go back to our friend Superman. If you're wondering why I'm calling it the Red Sun, at the time I was obviously you cannot call a character Superman unless you cheat somehow. And I decided instead to at the time I was planning to recreate basically the Red Sun Superman, which is the evil communist version of Superman, sort of. And I thought I was being very clever by using the number 3 for the E, seeing how some of the Russian alphabet is actually pretty much the same alphabet but reversed.
All this help you're doing is gonna get you in.
Thank you, Talia. You're so sweet. Not sure why I couldn't click on our little friend here. Hello, Costas. Well, I tried not to use numbers usually, but in this case, I thought it was fitting. It kind of was. It's as if I was writing like Red Sun in evil Russian, if it makes any sense. Yeah, I think you can recreate a pretty cool version of Overgirl. I wish we could have the Overgirl emblem. I would probably create a cool Overman character.
Hey, put out! I can fight my own battle.
But yeah, usually I'll try to use numbers if it actually works within the name of the character. Like there's a few characters where I use the number 0 instead of a capital O. But as a rule of thumb, I try to spell the names as properly as I can. Overman is the there's a few variations, but roughly it's a Nazi Superman. There's a few variations. Sometimes they'll create some sort of evil Superman character, and they'll call it Overman. Sometimes they'll call it Uberman or Ubermensch. There's a few variations on that. Why is it that you can't use your trinkets? Alive at 29? Or you mean the 29th? Sure. When Deluge comes out, I'll most likely make a live stream. There's many versions of Superman that you can recreate. I'll probably try and make a video. I have a video about Batman that I'm trying to come up with. But after Batman, I'll probably try to make a Superman video. I was hesitating a bit before for Superman because odds are once we get the Superman anniversary event, if I make a Superman video right now, it'll probably be obsolete in like a month. But I figured then, what's the worst that can happen? I can still make the video, and in 1 month, I'll make another one if I have to. Okay, so you didn't have like the base. I think you have to pay for the mainframe for the base or something like that. It's been a while, so I don't really remember what's included in the base or not. Thanks, Dave. Well, we'll see you next time. Hopefully.
The crime syndicate don't take kindly to interference in official business.
Well, Nazi are the best villains. You don't have to explain who they are. You just create a character, call it a Nazi, and right away, the evil villainy of the character is built in within the character. You don't have to explain that the character is evil. Just being a Nazi is enough for people to understand that, oh, okay, this is an evil bad guy of evil. Although sadly lately, a lot of players, a lot of people use that name to try to... whenever people don't agree with someone, sadly they'll start calling them bad names like that, which is a bit unfortunate, I think. It's, I guess, the easiest way to shut down pretty much any conversation. But for comic book villains or even movie villains, holy crap! You make them an evil Nazi, and you have your perfect villain. If I get tired of DCUO, no, I don't. There's, I guess that's one of the reasons why I have a lot of characters. If I get, let's say I get tired of playing my multiverse character, I play my Superman character. If I get tired of playing my Superman character, I play my Batman character. If I get tired of playing my Batman character, I play my Flash character. So I have enough character to keep things different. So that probably helps in keeping this universe online not boring. And that's also one of the reasons why I have a lot of alternate characters. Eons ago, I didn't really want to have alternate characters. I was focusing on pretty much 1 or 2 characters. And I had maybe a handful of alternate characters. But at some point, basically when we had Origin Crisis as a new DLC at the time, I was getting a little burnt out on DCUO. Also, I had played a lot of PvP that summer, trying to get the Vengeance set of gear. So I have to admit that that summer I was getting a little burnt out from DCUO. And I've always been creating and deleting new characters all the time. So I create a bunch of new characters, then I delete a bunch of characters, and and usually what I would do in the past is that I would create a character, play it up to level 10, level 30, and then I would delete it, create a new characters up to level 10, level 30, and I would pretty much alternate like that. Like whenever I was tired of playing endgame content, I would create a new character and I would play from level 1 to 30 once more. But then with the Summer of Origin Crisis, and in the past what I would do is I would create a character, play it for a bit, delete it, create a new character, play it for a bit, delete it, and rinse and repeat. But somehow during the Summer of Origin Crisis, I was getting burnt out from endgame content, so I started creating more and more and more character, and I started not deleting those characters anymore. So having a wide variety of characters allowed me to never get tired of DC Universe Online. The game can be a bit, yes, technically you're always playing and replaying the same missions, but it gets quite different if you're playing with a flying character or if you're playing with an acrobat character, and it can be quite different if you recreate a Superman and play that character, or if you recreate a Green Lantern and play that character. It creates a nice variety that makes it not really boring. And that always, one of the reasons that I see people who get bored is sometimes they'll complain that they have nothing left to do. But if you have a lot of characters like I do, you always have something to do. You always have either a character that you want to progress, you always have a style that you need for your character. Like one of the fun bits with DC Universe Online is to like one of the things I really enjoy is recreating characters. Like in the case of our friend Superman, well, I had to farm and farm until I could purchase the Stalwart Defender chest, and then I had to purchase the Stalwart Defender belt, and then I had to, well, in this case it was simple enough to get the Superman cape. But basically for a lot of characters that I created, sometimes like for Green Lantern. Originally, when I created my Green Lantern character, I had to play the character up until tier 5 before I was able to get the Green Lantern chest piece at the time. So basically, for when you create specific characters and you're trying to recreate specific looks, it means then that you have to farm for those looks, and you have to try to get the looks needed to be able to recreate the character you have in mind. I hear a lot of good stuff about Elder Scrolls Online. When a lot of the some of the people tell me about Elder Scrolls Online, usually they were Elder Scrolls fans even before Elder Scrolls Online. Like either they were fans of Skyrim, or Oblivion, or Morrowind. So that's how they went into Elder Scrolls Online, because they were already fans of the property. I can't say that I've ever really been an Elder Scrolls fan. I tried Morrowind. It was fine enough at the time, but not really. Sorry, Central. I'm not the Metropolis Bank of Commerce, sadly. So a lot of the people who usually tell me about Elder Scrolls Online are basically built-in Elder Scrolls Online fans. So I didn't really feel like trying it. Also, like my friends who play Elder Scroll, they play Elder Scroll on Xbox. So if I was to try Elder Scroll, I wouldn't be able to play with them. I toyed with the idea at some point of maybe purchasing an Xbox, but I haven't done that just yet. DCUO is the first game where I truly played PvP. In the past, I had never really played PvP. I played Dungeons and Dragons online. I played Lord of the Rings online, and I had never really tried PvP. I had never really had any interest in PvP. DCUO is pretty much the first game where I actually started playing PvP, and where I played PvP quite actively. Heck, for the longest time, I was playing only on the PvP server.
Don't take this the wrong way, but I can't be seen around you.
So I know there's a lot of complaint about the PvP and DCUO, and I can understand some of those complaints, but the PvP in DCUO is pretty much the best PvP I've seen so far, and based on on me playing DCUO, the PvP for DCUO, it allowed me to play the PvP in Destiny and not be too much of a bad players, if it makes sense. Like I was able to apply a lot of the stuff I've learned playing PvP in DCUO actually helped me when I did play PvP in Destiny. But yeah, if I ever tried Elder Scroll Online, yeah, I would probably try the PvP, at least just to see how it actually works.
Who do you think you are? Mind your own.
Oh, our friend here is down. Ah.
All this help you're doing.
And I guess one thing that can help not to get too bored with DCO is that you can play PvE for a bit, then you can go and play PvP for a bit. In the past, that's what I used to do. I used to play, I don't know, whether a mission I wanted to play in PvE, then I would switch to PvP for a bit, and then I would be, let's say, done for the day, and the next day I would do the same thing. I would play a handful of PvE mission, like whatever PvE mission I could actually play at the time, and then I would move on to play some PvP. But then once I started having a lot of alternate characters, I started playing PvP a lot less. Basically, instead of switching from PvE to PvP to have like a change of pace, I would just switch from a high-level character to a low-level character, and that would give me the change of pace I needed. I should probably play PvP a bit more, and I'll try to play a bit more when I can. But I have to admit, I don't feel like I need to play PvP as much as I once did. But the PvP in DCUO, that's pretty much how I learned, where I learned to play PvP. So I'm not sure if we're done here. I guess we are. So those of you who were asking what do you get from those missions, I'll show it to you in just a bit. Like from Wonder Woman again, all you get is UltraBucks. If you're combat reading 207 or more, you'll also get Marks of Victory. So our friend Batman only gives us UltraBucks, but our friend Cyborg will give us UltraBucks and a little loot cache. So let's take a quick look at what's in the box.
And that all puts a smile on my face.
So usually if you're lucky you can get a piece of gear, you can get base items, you can get core elements if you really want to. So you can choose one of those items. Let's choose the rings because why not? The color code for Allman and Riddler. I can try. The truth is, I don't think I really know the color code, so I would have to look it up.
I appreciate it,
But sure, if I can find out the code for those characters, I suppose I could make a video about that.
Who do you think you are?
The evil Ultraman. You see, he blasted us with his heat vision. He's so mean. But for the colors for the characters, it's a bit tricky sometimes because depending on which map you stand in, there's different color lightings. There's different lightings on each map. So if you put your character a certain color, if you're in Metropolis, yeah, the character could look really bright, and if you go into Gotham, the character could be a bit darker.
All this
So depending on which map you stand in, the colors of your character will be different. You guys may have noticed that also even with the various bases that I have some bases where the color of my characters will look really dark, where other bases or there's a lot more, let's say, light in the base, so that the colors of the character looks a bit lighter. So it's always a bit tricky to get the proper color, and even if you do get the proper color, depending on the map you're in, it may not look like the proper color still.
It'll hurt me if I don't get this where it needs to go.
But sure, if I can, I'll see what I can do. Hello, Epic Gamer. So technically, I still have a couple of missions to play in the open world map. So we'll start by doing that, and I'll try to play maybe one or two other missions afterwards. So I still have the Quick Chaos. I'm almost done with that one. As you can see, this one gives a large loot crate. And there's also the Residential Evil, which also gives a large loot crate. Good night, Lazy Gamer. I'm on the US server, US PS4 right now. I'll try to make a video a bit later or a bit earlier for those who are across the Atlantic.
Put out.
Who do you think you are?
So just one more.
Hand over the goods.
Oh, if I had to choose a fantasy world, I'd probably go into something like DCUO.
Hey, you hurt my quota.
Although if I had to choose like a medieval fantasy, I wouldn't choose Elder Scroll. I would most likely choose Dungeons and Dragons, and even more specific, I'd probably choose the fantasy world from like Baldur's Gate. Thank you, Epic Gamer. So here's our last one. So we still have about 200 evil enemies to defeat. Let's go see our friend Flash, and then we'll try to complete our last mission. So once you're done, you come see your friend Flash. So as you can see, your Flash gives you 8 UltraBucks and the Earth 3 large loot cache. So this weekend, we're going to get twice that, thanks to the bonus weekend. Hello, Stanislaw. So again, we can choose plan, ice sculpture. I'll go for the utility belt box. A cheeky evening snack? Don't talk about food. I didn't have supper yet. So let's see. There's a few places usually I go when I need to defeat like 200 enemies pretty quick. Usually around those containers. That's usually a good spot to go. Although sometimes there's too many people, so it's nice to have a few alternatives. If that spot is too overcrowded, like you can see already, there's someone either playing missions, or there's someone else who's trying to play the 333 or 303 mission. So the reason why I come here is usually there's at least 2, sometimes even 3 police officers. So we can defeat 2 or 3 enemies at the same time. So it does speed up the process a little bit. You would think that the better option would be to get a group. The problem on this map is that if you get a group to try to play the 303 missions, people get spread all over the map. And if you're too far from each other, when you defeat an enemy, it doesn't count for people who are too far away. So usually what happens is that people go all over the map, and sadly you end up with in a situation where the enemies that your friend actually defeat don't really count for your mission. So the better option, like in Riddle with Crime, getting a group usually is a good idea. But on this map here, seeing how people just spread over, themselves all over the map, you're almost better off to do it by yourself. That's strange. Not sure why there's only one officer. So sadly, if there's other people playing missions over here, you have to sometimes compete with them for enemy kills. Usually they do share the kill, but once in a while it doesn't really share them, or it only shares some of them. I think you have to do a minimum amount of damage to the enemies for them to actually count towards your enemy count. But it's usually not a big deal. There's other places where you can go. As I said, it's a pretty big map, and usually people get spread all over the map. But there's quite a few places where you can go to find enemies. Again, usually I try to find the type of enemies that hang together by groups of 2 or 3. That way, when you defeat a single group, you've defeated 2 or 3 enemies in one shot.
I have no problem mugging you too.
But if you see one enemy by himself, there's no reason not to attack him. Although in this case he had his little friend nearby. often have a tendency to mostly use my powers.
Over the goods.
I don't always have the reflex to switch to using my weapons. But once in a while I'll do that. Well, but I'm a bit of a, I guess you could call me a power spammer. I kind of like to spam my powers a bit. Which is probably in part why I kind of like using my powers a lot. Yeah, I guess an Elder Scroll TV show could make some sort of sense.
You hurt my quota.
Although I'm not sure if I would call it an Elder Scroll TV show. From what I understand, the most popular brand in the Elder Scroll TV show was Skyrim. And I guess Morrowind also.
What are you, crazy?
So I would probably call it a Skyrim TV show as opposed to an Elder Scroll. But I guess both could actually work. Obviously, the better option would probably be to splinter it in multiple branches. Like you could have, instead of having an Elder Scroll TV show, you could have a Skyrim TV show, a Morrowind TV show, and I forget what the other, an Oblivion TV show. So you could have multiple TV shows in parallel as opposed to only have one TV show. But of course, it could be called Elder Scroll Skyrim and then Elder Scroll Morrowind. I guess one wouldn't stop the other. But the challenge of, let's say, making a TV show is that you have a lot of people who want to have a say in what's going to happen. Like, obviously, the people making, just a little bit, DCUO. Obviously, the people making the game, they will want to have a say in what the TV show will look like. But to make a TV show, you have a lot of invested interests. You have all the investors who want to have a say in the TV show. You have the studio actually making the TV show that want to have a say in how the TV show is made. You have the broadcaster who will want to have a say in how the TV show is made. So there's a whole bunch of people who usually want to have a say in how things are made and how things are going to work. So making a TV show is a tricky feat, and it's usually nothing short of a small miracle when it actually gets produced. But DCUO Master, I'll try to make a stream a bit later, not today, but this week. I've been toying with the idea, like, there's one day this week where I'll probably make a stream in the, let's say, the morning, and a stream in the afternoon, so that different people can enjoy the stream. And then I'll probably try to make a stream later at night, sometime this week, so that the people who kind of miss the stream for reasons. So I'll try to give a little bit of everything for various people. And we'll see how it works out. Hello, Fusini.
Is anyone out there?
But Eric, you could try to put together the money for such a TV show. There's production company that does only that. Game of Thrones was books. Originally, it was a series of book, and they turned it into a TV show. And then later on, they made video games and other stuff about that. But from what I understand, it was a series of book at first. It was the I forget, of Fire and Ice or something like that. A Tale of Fire and Ice, or I forget the actual name. And it was rebranded Game of Thrones when they made the TV show.
Hello? Anyone?
But when they decided to make a TV show about Game of Thrones, they hit the jackpot.
Officer down!
Hey, let me out.
A Lord of the Rings TV show could be fun, but the problem with the Lord of the Rings TV show is that we already saw the Lord of the Rings. We saw the Hobbit, we saw the Lord of the Rings. I guess they could try to make a TV show about some of the extra stuff, like the Silmarillion. I can't pronounce it. Or there was another one that was called Unfinished Tales or something like that. So I guess they would have to go into that kind of material. Otherwise, we would end up with a TV show that pretty much repeats what we've already seen with the film. Although, from what I understand, they are making a Lord of the Rings TV show.
What are you, crazy?
I think it's going to be on Amazon Prime or something like that.
Punch like a truck.
But again, you have to understand, like, if they make a Lord of the Rings TV show, what is it really going to be about? And again, we already had the Lord of the Rings itself, which was pretty successful in terms of the films. I guess the one thing they could make, they didn't make to the film, something they could add to supplement the films would be the scouring of the Shire, like the liberation of the Shire. It's one part that they've decided not to make in the films. That was a big oversight. Like the whole point of the story is pretty much the liberating of the Shire at the end of the story.
That's gonna leave a mark.
So it was a bit disappointing when they decided
Hand over the goods.
to avoid making that part. So even with the Lord of the Rings TV show, like technically you would think that you can't go wrong with the Lord of the Rings TV show, but it depends on what they decide to make. And also, speaking of fantasy, I don't know if you guys saw the episode of Legends of Tomorrow yesterday. We had a guest appearance by John Constantine. I love that guy. And from what I understand, Constantine is going to be a regular member of Legends of Tomorrow with Season 4, which is great news if you ask me. I love that character.
I have no problem mugging you too.
The TV show, the John Constantine TV show, or the Constantine TV show was pretty bad though, but the character was pretty good. So it was a bit disappointing to see him wasted on such a poorly written, like the Constantine TV show was poorly written. So it was a bit disappointing at the time, but the character of Constantine himself was pretty fun. So I was really happy when they decided to use him again within Arrow. There was one episode where he guest starred in the Arrow TV show, and then they decided to have him guest star in Legends of Tomorrow. Now it seems that he's going to be a full-time member of Legends of Tomorrow in Season 4, which I'm very happy about. I guess it's nice to see that they recognize that very often when there's a TV show that doesn't succeed, usually producers will try to distance themselves from that TV show, or the same with movies. But it's nice to see that they, at least I think, they realize that if there was a problem with the Constantine TV show, it wasn't the guy who was playing the character. So it's nice to see that they decided to keep on using him. Because it would have been very, very easy for them to decide to recast John Constantine to try to distance themselves from the Constantine TV show, but luckily they didn't do that. So we crossed the 200 mark a bit ago, so about 100 more and we should be able to collect our reward. That's a cool looking fella here.
What are you, crazy?
So when you see people coming on your territory, there's usually more than enough enemies for everyone, so you can just move around a bit.
This isn't over. I have no problem mugging you too.
I guess if you want to, Trenton, sure. Although I'm almost done with the 303 mission, I was planning to maybe play 1 or 2 on duty mission after that. So I guess we could play the Visitor and any other mission that will pop afterwards. I'm on US PS4 though, so make sure that you play on the US server and that you play on PS4. Of course you can be my friend. Everyone can be my friend. Except for Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor cannot be my friend.
Hey, you hurt my quota.
I'm a hero. I'm Superman. Come on. This is our friend Superman. Okay, I get with Red Sun it could be an evil version of Superman, but no, this is a hero. guess I should probably rename him, but I trying to find a name that kind of evokes Superman would probably be tricky at this point, unless I'm really lucky.
Hello? Anyone?
So if you're an evil villain of villainy, we can't really play right now. But I do have villain characters, so we could play with a villain some other time. Ah, thank you, Trenton.
I can't take it in here.
So we're about halfway through 200. So this week I have a pretty big Batman video that I'm working on. Basically, it's going to be a whole bunch of Batman looks that we can recreate in this universe online. And I could probably come up with a video about various Superman looks that we can recreate. I'll have to give it a bit of thoughts.
Dispatch. We got 1035 here.
I can't take it in here.
And those little guys can hit my poor Superman pretty hard sometimes. Let's try and get some health back. I probably should add some mods to my gear. Like, as you can see, the game raises your combat rating to 207. And it raises also the stats of the character. I'm not sure if it would make a big difference if I had mods or not. I'll have to give it some thoughts at some point. But as you can see, even with no mods, you can play the game fine. Although there are people who go pretty crazy over the use of the mods. So if you're not using mods, be prepared to be vilified by some players. And the same with skill points. Like right now I have, I'm not sure how many skill points I have. Right now I have 131 skill points. I can pretty guarantee that some people would go nuts if they saw that. Sure, Trenton. Just invite me to your party.
I can't take it in here.
You should be able to invite me. Let me check in case. No, I don't have a ignore group invitation on, so you just invite me for your group, and we should be able to play.
Is anyone out there?
Ain't no hurt me if I don't get this where it needs to go.
let's salute our little friend here.
Hello? Anyone?
So we got a Prometheum logbox, so let's see what we can get. So for those who have been wondering, like this is where you can get the Stalwart Defender chest piece, but the odds of getting it are so slim. Even with the loot picker, the odds of getting what you want, odds are it's not gonna happen. So you may as well just purchase it from the broker if you really want it. So here we have the Seraph chest style or the Mercenaries Malice chest style. Well, let's go for the Malice one. Let's greet our little friend here again. Trenton, are you Remeras? Is that your character?
Hey, let me out!
My pension won't cover this.
Oh, hello, Joe. Oh, you have a nice looking character. Well, let's go take a look again. I love your demon-looking evil character, and you have the wings that you can get from the marketplace. Runic wings, I think they're called. Kind of like them. That's a pretty cool-looking demonic fella. That deserves a thumbs up.
Is anyone out there?
I'm sure, Rusty, if you want to join. I'm almost done though with the 303 mission. I'll probably try to play some instance mission afterwards. But yeah, if you want to join, why not? Hello, Jeffrey. I haven't seen you in a while. Let's heal a bit. Come on, come on. Sometimes you stay in combat mode. I'm not sure why. There we go. So we have 23 left that we need. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Jeffrey. Usually that's when you understand that there are things a little more important than playing games in life.
Is anyone out there?
I remember there was a time when I thought buying and reading comics was the most important thing in the world. I would go to the comic shop at some point it was I think Tuesday, and it was changed to Thursday. I'm not sure why. But basically once a week on New Comic Day, I would go get my new comics. But then later in life, you realize that going to a comic store, and not really the most important thing in the world. And sadly, the same is true with gaming. Although there are some people who treat gaming almost like a full-time job, sometimes even more than a full-time job. Which I know might be ironic considering the videos I make.
Hey, let me out!
This situation is getting out of control.
Call an ambulance. Officer down.
Hello? Anyone?
Just in case you don't know, Jeffrey, there's going to be bonus UltraBuck weekend coming up. And also, the March 29th, we're going to have the new DLC, which will be the Deluge DLC. So just trying to keep you in the loop, so to speak.
I'd like to give Ultraman
And right now we're during the St. Patrick's Seasonal, which should be... we have about a week left, I think. Well, maybe even a bit less than a week.
The crime syndicate don't take kindly to interference in official business.
The evil Ramirez, he threw a car at us. He's so mean.
We got a 1035 here.
So almost there, just a few more, and we'll be done with this.
Cover this.
Is anyone out there?
This should do it.
I can't take it in here.
When we complete the 303 mission, we don't have to go see any NPCs. So let's see what we got in the box. Yeah, the closest thing they did to the underwater zone is during the puzzle part. There's going to be a part where your character can end up underwater, and people are going to have to place some oxygen tank so that your character doesn't drown. But yeah, sadly that was to be expected. If I can speak up, sure. Well, it's about as much as I can speak up right now. Anyone else has a? Does anyone else has a hard time hearing me?
Merciful Minerva, forgive these poor souls for their acts. The things I have seen on this earth are beyond anything I could imagine. No law, no order, and no heroes to act as paragons for those at the end of their wits. Hera, protect them and give me strength to act on their behalf.
This is a fire character, but if you want to, you can almost recreate a character without using any powers other than iconic. Like you can see right now, I'm using the whirlwind attack, freeze breath, reignition is pretty much the only thing I use from the fire tree. Swoop attack, air burst, and heat vision. So only the supercharge is something that I'm using from the fire tree.
Now what?
So, well, let's see. So I guess our friend Infrared 2 only wanted to trade. Maybe someday. We'll have to wait and see. I'm not sure why they didn't do it this time. Obviously, it could be that it's too much work. It could be that maybe they don't have the technology to do it just yet. It's kind of hard to tell.
Waller here. This affair is now
Oh,
under
3
Task
tank?
Force X
Well, I'll switch to
jurisdiction.
DPS, I
I've
suppose.
assigned members of the Suicide Squad to assist you in your objectives. Just keep your nose down. The squad won't step a toe out of line.
So let's get started. Well, for the DLC, we have to wonder if they're going to maybe are they going to go back to making a 3-parter like we had Amazon Fury Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3? Are they going to make a Deluge Part 1, Part 2, Part 3? Right now, we don't really know. But if they ever do that, who knows? Maybe for Deluge Part 2, they could do that. Well, we're
You again? How dare you come into my house and disrupt my re-election party?
How dare you use the office of mayor for extortion, corruption, and murder? The Jim Gordon I know would have no part of it.
And I guess in that zone, they could have everyone, quote-unquote, fly, since we would be like swimming underwater.
Gotham City, and you and your pals
So you have to wonder
activate the automated defense.
why it's not possible to do just yet. You would think that they should be able to do it, but again, there might be a limitation we're not aware of that prevents them from doing that.
Damn it.
We'll have to fight our way to Gordon, sending back. Stand against them.
You idiots! Stop them!
Gordon! You can't run from me. He's heading for the elevator. I'm going after him. Take out the rest of his men.
Engine won't cover this. Call an ambulance. Requesting backup.
But I can understand your disappointment, Jeffrey. Let's go for the back piece. Well, odds are it's a technical issue, but maybe they can do it. They don't want to do it somehow. Maybe they really can't do it. It's hard to tell.
What do we have here? Does someone want to throw themselves on the mercy of the court?
This is the... I won't be able to see it. This is the Earth 3 4-player mission.
The judge, jury, and executioner of Gotham City.
It's alright. Some of those maps sometimes look alike, so it's easy to be confused by it.
We, the jury, find you guilty. You shall now answer to a jury of your peers. We, the jury, find you guilty. You shall now answer to a jury of your peers. We find you in contempt.
I should probably grab the focusing element to do some crafting, but nah, let's go for the good stuff.
You think you can take Gotham from me? Think again. I put up the
Oh
city.
yeah, time to take down the evil Owlman.
No one operates in my city without paying a price. I'll take yours in blood.
Hello, Ethan.
Good, but not good enough.
Ah, thanks, Ethan. Much appreciated.
Your loved ones will pay for that. Time to kick this party up a notch. Here are more lucky door prizes.
It happens. Sometimes it's easy to have too high expectations. Although sometimes those expectations are based on other games we've played. So it would be very easy to think of other games I've played in the past and to wonder why some of the things DCUO is doing is not quite on par with what those games were doing at the time. But also there are certain restrictions that sometimes DCUO has that other game don't have, like being able to fly probably creates a level of challenge in creating the DCUO maps.
Good, but not good. Eye for an eye.
There's quite a few things the Superman event should be. Again, let's try and manage expectation and not expect too much, otherwise we're going to end up being disappointed. Personally, I expect the Superman event to be pretty much similar to some of the seasonals we have, like the Halloween seasonal or the summer seasonal.
Don't just stand there. Help Owlman kill these vigilantes. Let's go. A smart man will always
The only worry I have with the Superman event is that it seems that it will be a one-time event. So I'm a bit worried about what will happen for people who miss the event. Like any players that will start to play like next summer or after. Obviously all those players will miss out on the Superman event.
It's over. I saw the cover-up files in Montoya's office. Tell me what happened.
So I can already anticipate
kill him. Owlman
quite a few future players will be disappointed to have missed out on that event.
You simpering worm, Gordon.
You murdered his parents.
Spare me. Gordon used their blood money to buy votes. It's true, but you got him killed. Shut your mouth. You let him face
Right now I play on PS4, but I also play on PC on the US server. But if the mission is too hard, there's quite a few things you can do in the meantime.
Without Batman,
You can go and play. I'll get out of here and I'll try and show you.
we'll find some measure of justice for his crime.
I've received a distress signal from Luther's power suit. He infiltrated the Panopticon, the crime syndicate's headquarters. He went in on his own and got in over his head. Wonder Woman and I are mounting a rescue. Meet us there.
So let's get out of here. Yeah, I can imagine that. Although the Batman game, I suppose you want the Batman game for the graphics, but if you're playing, if you're making an MMO, sadly you cannot have the Arkham Knight graphics. The Arkham Knight can push the graphics because it's a single player game, but if you have a game that has to be played on many machines at the same time, sadly you cannot have the graphics that the Arkham games have. It's sad, but that's how it is. Maybe in 20 years when computers or consoles are 100 times better, maybe then that will be an option. But until that happens, not really. Ethan, one thing you could do is that there's a little kiosks here that sometimes will give you some booster gold missions. I don't think they'll keep the event. They've already said that it's going to be from I think it's April, June, and July, something like that. So I guess it'll be like mid-April. Is it April? Well, let me just give me a second. Almost there. We do have the dates on the event section. Oh, yeah, it's April, May, and June. So I suppose it'll start like mid-April and it'll last probably until mid-June. So that sadly we already know that the Superman 80th anniversary will be a limited time event. Although maybe it'll come back next year, I suppose, or maybe it'll come back for the 85th anniversary, assuming we're still playing this universe online at the time. And already we have a date. So someone was asking about the spring event. The spring event will be from May 1st to May 31st. Which mission are you talking about, Ethan? I suspect you may be talking about. No, that's you can be talking about Zoom. Zoom is a pretty low-level mission. Like if some of the missions are too hard, there's a few missions you can play where you only have to explore Metropolis. There's some of the Booster Gold missions. Let's try and see if I have one in here. I guess not. So there's a few missions like the Booster Gold missions where you just need to go activate consoles. It's simple enough missions that will give you a bit of an XP boost to level up your character a bit. In the Arkham games, I don't know. I'm not sure if it depends. Are you Superman 909213? Ethan, is that you? Okay, so if you're level 13, okay, then you're probably playing the Zoom mission. Like the speedster you're talking about is the evil Zoom. Yeah, a pretty cool looking Superman. Oh, your Xbox, Ethan. Okay, so I won't be able to help you. Oh, we have a pretty cool fella over here. If I can sub to... Let's go back to our base. Jeffrey, for the event, yeah, it would be nice if they would add new stuff. But I think that was the whole point of the event. It allowed them to be able to have new quote-unquote content without having to do a lot of extra work. Which I think is why they were trying to make the Starro event. And as we saw, we had the Anti-Monitor event. So they were able to pretty much reuse the same content, just tweak it a bit, and it allowed them at various points in time during the year to have quote-unquote new events by spending a minimum amount of work. Like they just need to add new base items, new styles, and that's enough to keep people busy, as opposed to creating new instances, new missions. So I think that was the whole goal of the events to begin with, to be able to have content that would come back every year and that would require the minimum amount of work and somehow keep people busy, at least for a bit. You have to buy them. You have to buy them from the marketplace. So if you go into the marketplace, come on, come on. If you go to, it should be base items, I think. And I think it's at, not quite at the top, at the bottom. And you have to purchase armories. They're somewhat pricey. It's basically $6 for one, and about $28 for 8. I would strongly suggest if you want to purchase armory, do that while they're on sale. Like I was able to, we had a couple of sales. We had one for Christmas or just before Christmas, so I was able to buy a bunch for fairly cheap. Ethan, maybe you can tell us. We keep on hearing that there's not that many people playing on Xbox. Is there any truth to that? So I think this is going to be it. If you guys have any questions, now would be the time. So basically, we played the missions on Earth 3 to show you a bit how to get UltraBucks, but there's also missions from the on-duty menu that allows you to have UltraBucks like the Visitor, Injustice System, Panopticon, and the Escape. And of course, if you're a player that's combat rating 207, then you can play those missions actually from the regular version and the elite version, of course. But if you play the Earth 3 missions for free, then you have access to those missions through the events tab. And again, if you're a legendary player, this weekend, those missions here in the on duty tab, they will give triple UltraBucks. And every missions for everyone will give extra UltraBucks, which I assume will be double UltraBucks. Lots of people play on Xbox, Ethan? Oh, we meant DC Universe Online. If lots of people play DC Universe Online on Xbox. Obviously, a lot of people play Fortnite. There's a lot of people who play Fortnite also on PS4. But for DC Universe Online, is there a lot of people who play? Okay. Well, it makes sense. During the day, there's usually, or during the evening, between like 5 and 7, I guess that, or 5 and 8, that's probably the peak time. But of course, if you play at 3 a.m., yeah, there's usually not as many people. As a rule of thumb, there's usually not as many people who will play DC Universe Online. And of course, this is my Superman 1 million look. Too bad we don't have the emblem on the back piece, but what can you do? The chrome skin. Oh yeah, someone had. I don't think I have the chrome skin with this little guy. I do have. Let's go. Let's go on the quest for the chrome skin. And I forget which Star Lab we have to go to. Let's go. Let's go to Star Labs, and worst comes to worst. The gold material, you have to get it from the marketplace. There's a bundle with 3 materials. There's a gold material, a silver material, and a bronze material. It's $20 for all 3 material, and you can get it once you purchase it from the marketplace. You have the gold materials. You have the 3 materials for all of your characters. So once you purchase the material from the marketplace, it's available for every single character in your account. But it is $20 for the 3 materials. Some people seems to think it's too much. Some people like it fine. So let's see the chrome skin. And as you can see that the lighting is quite different than inside my base. Like I mentioned that a bit before, how depending on which base, which map you're actually in, the colors will be a bit different. So let's see if we can get a nice gold skin with the chrome skin. Actually, it's pretty good. Pretty good. So let's go and print that. No, you buy it only once. Once you buy it, every single character in your account has access to it. I'll show you in just a second to make sure it's crystal clear. So you can see it's still fairly bright in this base, but there's a few bases where the gold is a bit darker. But as you saw in the open world, the gold is really shiny. Like in the Metropolis open world, the gold is really shiny. And again, if you go to the marketplace, come on, it should still be here. Like you can see here, the Champions Material Pack. I've already purchased it, but if I look, like it's $18. But that's because I'm a subscriber. If you're a subscriber, you get 10% off from the marketplace. If you're not a subscriber, obviously it's not 18, it's $20. And once you do that, once you actually purchase it, then every single character in your account can go to the redeem claim and can redeem the material. And you can see there's also a green aura that I didn't claim just yet. So let's do that. I'm not sure if I have an aura that could do the trick. I guess I could go with that, but nah. So again, Ethan, you buy it once, but it is $20. Some people usually think it's a bit expensive. But personally, I like it. I think it's real worth it. And let's go back to Metropolis, because why not? Yeah, I did pretty much the same. I would have to purchase extra cash to be able to buy more stuff. Maybe later. So as you can see in the Metropolis open world, the gold is a bit lighter, a bit shinier. If it makes any sense. And let's compare it with... it's actually a bit shinier than the golden Superman statue. So personally, I really enjoy the look of the gold material. So as soon as I saw that we had access to that, I purchased it right away for my character. So that's going to be pretty much it for now, guys. So again, don't forget, this weekend there's going to be an bonus UltraBucks weekend. The St. Patrick's Day event should last until March 26th. The Deluge DLC, the upcoming Deluge DLC, should start March 29th. Make a roleplay video. Yeah, maybe I should add that to my to-do things. And right now we have a date for the spring event, which will be May 1st to May 31st. And of course, there's the Superman 80th anniversary, which should start roughly mid-April and should last until about mid-June. So that's pretty much it for now, guys. So as always, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.